Back at the shop, ready to work on a 3000. I was messing with my house stuff today. The guy was supposed to come charge the AC, but he didn't have the right equipment, so I'm going to have another company come. I guess like when you do the reason I'm not doing it myself is because when you braze the lines, you have to nitrogen fill them. And I don't feel like buying like $300 worth of like nitrogen equipment and brazing stuff just to do my one system. So he didn't have it. He was like going to do it without it. And I was like, no, it's not happening, because when you braze copper line, the heat, because of flame on the torch, it actually makes soot in the line. Well, that soot, the Freon, the R410A, it'll clean that out and it plugs up all your filters. So another guy's going to come out. I made sure to ask him this time because I thought it seemed like an industry standard that they had to use nitrogen to purge the lines. It's kind of like welding titanium. You don't like say you can weld titanium and then just like not purge the titanium when you weld it, and it just like doesn't weld at all. So another company's going to come out. They need to give me a call. It's going to be sometime this week. I was hoping to have my AC done today because it's going to get hotter and hotter as the week goes on. Once it hits like Friday, I'll start cool off again. So yeah, I'm just going to work on the VR4 until that comes. I should have the engine into the car by the end of the day. I probably won't have it running, but I think I'll have it in there. All I have to do really, well, all I want to do before I put it in, I'm going to undo the downpipes, and I'm going to anti-seize them, so later on if I want to remove them and put aftermarket ones on. I should be doing it right now, but I don't have them, so might as well just, if I do it, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or if I'll have the car long enough to do it, but just in case, I'm going to anti-seize the bolts. That makes it a lot easier in the end if I actually end up doing it. So just the front and the rear, I'm going to delete all these vacuum lines because this is all EGR stuff. I'll keep it separated in a box, and like I said last night, the reason I'm deleting it is some of the lines are cracked. I think I may have cracked some of them when I pulled the engine just because of how that block is, and it just kind of like is kind of tight in there. You like move it back and forth, it's kind of like those hit like yeah. So I'm gonna do that. I was gonna delete, I still might do it. So this thing down here is a there's a booster for the clutch pedal. So this is actually a clutch booster. So I may end up getting rid of it because I doubt the clutch is that stiff to require a booster on your clutch. Like, come on, like, look at this. This is a big air tank. It has a line that goes all the way up around the car, and I couldn't figure out where it went, but if you look in there, there's actually a, like the line goes inside the car, and I'm pretty sure there's a booster inside the car. So there's like the brake boosters on the outside, and on the inside there has to be like a smaller like clutch booster version. I guess it's just probably like the 240s. It's like a dampener, I bet, and it probably makes it easier to disengage and engage a clutch. But really, it's a stock clutch on a 6-speed. How hard is it to disengage? Or engage, or however you want to say it. But I'm going to delete all that stuff, and then I'll probably stick, I might wait. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick the axle in now or later, but there's the messed up axle that was my fault, but I think the boot was already ripped, so I would have had to replace it. So these have the, yeah, I might put this axle in before I might put both axles in before I put this whole thing in the car, because it'll be a lot easier to mess with the axles while it's outside of the car and get all those bolts and everything. So I'll probably put the axles in. I won't bolt them into the hubs, which was my issue before. I'll just let them like hang there. I'll pop that axle out and put the new one in. And by new, I mean the ones from the other car which they actually look not too bad. They look like they're newish, but they were in like a rusty climate. So I may just like give that a little scuffy scuff, but I may just leave it. Who knows? We'll see as this day progresses working on this thing. And I'm going to start doing it now. Yesterday I started to remove the 6-speed tranny. The transfer case is kind of being, the car, like the whole swap is pretty much rusty from like, the car was a Missouri car. Last driven, looks like 13 maybe, or maybe they got plates. Yeah, no, it had to have been 13. So, yeah. So, but it was pretty rusty. You could see surface rust. And, yeah, it just made everything harder to remove. The axles are kind of rusty, and the transfer case doesn't want to come off as nicely as it should, because it's all unbolted. It should just kind of, you should tap it and they come right off. That's kind of why I'm glad that I'm glad that's how I put the whole swap together, because you would have to technically remove the tranny anyway to pull the engine. So why not just drop the whole subframe to do that? There's no reason not to. This is the easiest way. You don't have to, if you get a swap like this, easiest way, because you don't have to unbolt the tranny. You're not unbolting anything other than like radiator and all that stuff you'd already have to unbolt. And wiring harness, all that stuff you don't have to unbolt. The only thing you wouldn't have to unbolt is the struts, and you'd have to pull the axles. The only thing like the struts in the subframe would be the intercoolers, the bumper, you probably could leave. But that's all pretty much little stuff, considering the scheme of things, because you'd be pulling like 10 times as many bolts to get the tranny and you'd have to pull the transfer case. That's 4 bolts, 5 bolts. Tranny's like 10 bolts or 12 bolts. Then the motor mounts, so you got all the motor mounts. Like you're just adding and adding. So this is a lot nicer. You don't actually have to worry about going back and torquing anything. All you have to do is just drop the subframe, put it on jack stands. Once the car's low enough, kind of maneuver it in spot with jacks, and then just line these. That's why they have these pins, and those are actually kind of loose. They don't, yeah, they're kind of just stuffed in there, I guess. Usually they're actually welded. I'm surprised they're stuffed in there like that. So yeah, you just line those pins up, stick them in the holes, slide some nuts on there, and you're halfway home. So I decided to pull everything in again, and man, just in time. They're a little key size right now. I knew those clouds looked funky. Key size. So yeah, I'm glad I rushed and put everything in again. Like it's like every time it rains now, it's like just wants to hail. Like every time, every single time. It's been hailing and doing all kinds of like stuff. So like I just have my truck, the hail fixed on it. So hopefully it's sitting at my grandma's house. Hopefully it doesn't get hailed on again. I thought hurricane season was over. I deleted like some of the brackets and stuff that hold the like the turbos on, and they're kind of worthless. I always delete them, never had an issue. So if I want to do downpipes, I didn't put this one back on because I need to drill some washers and to bolt that on, because it had the thing that holds the turbo, the bracket behind it, so I need to suck up that space. So I'll do that, and then I'll bolt this downpipe back on, or elbow, or whatever you want to call it. And then I started lowering the car down. I might get a new belt for that, and the power steering and everything, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I think I should be able to get this at least bolted into the car tonight and start to like hook up the clutch stuff and all the axles and all that good stuff. All right, so me and Jesse just watched the mummy, and now we're rolling call to O'Reilly before they close because I need some belts for the VR4 so I can stab it in tonight. Hit that boost, Jesse.
Trying.
Red lights. No, we got 10 minutes. We'll be good.
They're gonna be pitched.
All this vacuum line stuff that I didn't need for the EGR. I ran the wastegates. They connect together. They go down. They go to this. This goes to the electronic boost controller right here. I'm leaving that on, and then the fuel pressure regulator comes off of this right here. Goes right to the fuel pressure regulator, and then the wastegate, or not the wastegate, but the blow-off valve lines right here connects to, I'm pretty sure that's exactly where it connected before. It might have connected to like a nipple on that, but all those like cluster of like hard lines and everything is gone now, and I need to put 3 caps on there. And then I deleted this is for the clutch. It's like a reservoir for the clutch booster thing. So it's coming together. I have the new axles in, and I sprayed the old axles with some PB because I tried to air hammer them out. They're pretty in there, so I'm gonna have to let that soak. I'm gonna put this up in the car now, and then probably tomorrow I'll finish air hammering them out and actually get them hopefully to come out. I might have to take a torch to them if not, and if that doesn't work I'll have to pull the hubs off and press the axles out because they're kind of, I'm surprised they're so rusted in there, but you know, this wasn't what those came off of wasn't the rusty car. This was the rusty car, and those axles came out nice. So yeah, we'll see with that. What else did I do? Oh, here's that one axle. It looks like it was throwing grease on the transfer case, so I'm glad I got rid of that. And then yeah, I think I'm gonna keep all like the cruise controller and AC stuff and all that, because I don't want to not have it, because it's nice to have AC and like stuff that you kind of cruise around, or like you're trying to like sell people like that, also to have AC. So I need to drill some washers out for that, because I took out these things that hold the turbos on. You can see I need to make up that space to bolt it on, so it's not like, because it holds the tranny. I usually on 240s and stuff, I just take them off and leave them off. But since this is like a 6-speed all-wheel drive, it kind of is extra support for the transmission. The turbos, though, they don't need to be supported, because all of those turbos aren't big, and this manifold will hold that turbo no problem. They did them so like they don't crack and they don't flex, and I don't see any issues with that. So I am going to try to get her in and bolt it in tonight. My camera died, so I'm not sure how much of the time lapse it got, but yeah, tomorrow all I have to do is pretty much one issue I was having. I was pulling these axles out. I put the other axles in the transmission, but I had to spray them with PB. I'm gonna try to air hammer them out tomorrow. I'm letting it soak today because they're kind of, I think they're maybe a little bit rusted in. But yeah, it went in really easy. Just pretty much just moved the jacks back and forth. Everything lined up very well, and yeah, it's sitting in there all bolted in and stuff. I'll have to, bolt the intercoolers back in and all the other stuff, but I think by tomorrow, the end of tomorrow, it'll probably be able to fire up. Well, I'll have to change fuel pumps, buy a fuel filter, and drain like the bad gas out of the tank. And then I should be able to maybe run it tomorrow and see what else I need to do. Hook up the shifter linkage and all that fun stuff. So we'll see, but I think this should be getting done pretty quick, as long as I don't have to take these to go get pressed out, which may be a possibility. If they're really rusted in, I'll have to go take them and put them on a press and press them out, because that corrosion that is going on inside.